Now I will point out for you some contrast between Kunqu opera and, say, Western opera. In Kunqu opera, you will find that there's no choral singing. Very little. In a few scenes, you will find a group of people singing the same tune in unison. There's no harmony in Kunqu. Everything is melodic. There's even very little in the way of duets or responsorials, where one person sings one line and another sings another line. This is very rare, but it does happen in Kunqu. Sometimes people are waiting for a exciting choral ending to a scene. That doesn't happen in Kunqu. Kunqu, the high point of a scene is usually somewhere either just before or right after the middle of a piece. And then it quiets down, shall we say, and ends on a very calm note, which is often in unmetered style. In Western music, you will find that it is entirely sung, especially in opera. Kunqu is something more like a Western musical, where you have singing and you have dialogue, and you have speech, you have soliloquies, and you have dialogues. In Kunqu, the language of the singing is based on the dialect of the Wu region, that is the Yangtze River Delta region, Shanghai, Suzhou, and that area. Even within that small area, there are many dialects. The language of Kunqu is based on that dialect, but it is a stage language. Now, sometime in the 17th, 18th century, singers and let's say Kunqu lovers have developed a style of singing because of the melismatic nature of the melody, of dividing each word into three parts: the initial, the medial, and the final. The words I'm using here are what linguists use today, because every syllable has an initial consonant, a vowel in the middle, and sometimes an ending, an M or an N, or as in the Wu dialects, a clipped glottal stop at the end. So when you hear a singer sing, the emphasis is on the initial consonant, then the vowel, and then the end. Now let me give you an example. In the aria that I just sang for you, the third word, 春江香夕阳, I sing it in three parts. Now, according to the Chinese theorists, this is supposed to make the libretto or the words of the song easier to understand. I happen to find it exactly the opposite. When you break a word up into three parts, it makes it harder for me to understand. But that's the theory. Now, when you listen to a Kunqu aria, you have to be aware of the fact that sometimes one word sounds like three words. To me, it doesn't make it easier to understand. But you can just have to accept this as part of the style of this music. There's another aspect of the singing, that even in the medial, in the vowel part, you don't just sing it straight, because that's not the style. For example, in the aria Black Silk Gown, the third word, cha, if you sing it according to the melody, cha, zi, you can sing it that way, but it doesn't sound as good as if I sing it cha, I bite on the word a little bit. I alter the shape of my mouth so that what is sounds like in speech, it sounds terrible. In singing, it's fine. In Kunqu singing, this is called a 咬字, biting the word. In other words, when you draw out a vowel, you actually alter the sound a little bit. The spoken part, however, is done in two linguistic styles. The major characters in the play speaks in a intoned speech style. For example, if I say in ordinary speech, 好天气啊, what a fine day. But in the speech they will say, 好天气耶. So it's also a kind of singing. Now, in some plays, there is a comic role. Someone who just makes jokes, livens up the atmosphere a little bit. The comic actor often speaks in vernacular, that is, the local dialect. There are two local dialects that are frequently used in Kunqu. The Suzhou dialect, the Yangzhou dialect. Yangzhou is a city that is further north from Nanjing and Suzhou. And in earlier times, Yangzhou used to be the Manhattan of China.